company, the Ponzi scheme company, according to SEC. Now, to the general public, this is another evidence between Pwan and a young man who invested in Pwan buy to sell with a promise of 35% ROI in 1 year. And this investment was done in April 2024. And now we are in May 2025. P1 are yet to give him back his money. His capital, you know, see. ROI, you know, see. What a financial mistake.
Hello, everyone. So today, we are going to be talking about P1. P1 Africa, or P1 Max in some quarters, P1 Pro, P1 Mega, different variables and different varieties of P1. And I don't know why that it is the case that just have so many names. I don't know if there's a legal thing. I know that they are very big. They're quite big. They're in Asaba, they're in Lagos, they're in a couple of places. I'll specifically be talking about their Lagos business. And this is off the back of a statement that was released by SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, over a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks now. And I'm going to read it out. The attention of the Securities and Exchange Commission has been drawn to the activities of Property World Africa Network, P1, which holds itself as a real estate investment company and is soliciting funds from the public for investment purposes through P1 Max. The Commission hereby informs the public that P1 or P1 Max are not registered by the Commission either to solicit investments from the public or operate in any other capacity within the Nigerian capital market. Investigations have revealed that P1's operations exhibit the typical indicators of a fraudulent Ponzi scheme, including the promise of unusually high returns and failure to honor withdrawal requests from subscribers. Accordingly, the public is strongly advised to be wary about investing with P1/P1 Max, as any person who places such investments with these entities does so at his or her own risk. The Commission similarly reminds potential investors of the need to verify the registration status of investment platforms via the Commission's dedicated portal before transacting with them.
Now, to P1, these are the various evidence and transactions between you and this young man. This young man sent you 1.9 million naira, and this transaction was done on the 29th of April 2024. You can see it there. You can see the account to P1 Champion. And he also sent you another 500,000 naira in same 29th of April 2024. You can see that to P1 Champion. And this is the transaction receipt, the sales receipt that you sent to this young man. Full payment for 320 square meter land at Champion Bay Phase 2, buy to sell. And this is the agreement document that you sent to this young man between P1 Champion and the purchaser. And this is also the check, the post-dated check that you gave to him, for the sum of 3,120,000 naira only. And this payment was supposed to be made, or rather, this check was supposed to be cashed on the 29th of April 2025. And this is May 2025. P1 are yet to give this man back his money. So P1, you have lots of lands that you've not allocated to people. You have lots of houses that you are yet to allocate to people. And you also have buyback investments that you took from people, promising them a 35% ROI. And their investment, after 1 year, they're not the same. So P1, I hope you now understand why SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission of Nigeria, called you a Ponzi scheme. And you either pay up or you pay up, because it's not a trend. It's a movement.
So, I want to talk about this company and why I think that they went wrong or started going wrong. Because at the heart of things, this is off the back of Wale's interview recently that I reacted to. You can check the video out on my channel and you can check the initial video. It's easy to call people fraudsters. It's the easy way out. It's easy to call people scammers. And in this case, it might be so. But then, they started as a property company like most other people. And when I came into this industry, they were the major guys. And to see that after 10 years plus, they are still doing this sort of business, that they are investing in cashback, buyback, whatever they call it. and they're promising you 35%, 40% in 1 year. It's just so sad. But I would say the major thing, if we go way back, like again, I'll be talking about the Lagos business, why I felt like they started missing it, is that the initial business model was a very lazy business model. And I'll explain. Just hold on, hold your horses. So, P1's initial model was in basically Belgileki and environs. And they were buying land that either were freehold, not yet had titles yet, and they were flipping it. They were buying from Omnile, flipping it, buying and flipping, buying and flipping. And that continued for a very, very long time. See, the problem with buying and flipping is that if you never ever come to the point where you develop these plots of land, this set piece of land, or you work on the title and you perfect the title, you need to have your marketing continue to get the word out. In a sense, if you look at Landway, for instance, Landway actually started the same business model, even Veritas, they started the same business model, buying these cheap lands by money, flipping it. But after a while, they started to do their own flagship project. And to the point that the projects that they were doing were now speaking for them. Landway did Urban Prime 1, 2, 3, 4. And they spoke for them. They sold over 4,000 homes. But even up till today, you cannot show me a development that P1 did, that people are living in it. And I think that's also the problem with somebody like Stephen Akintayo of GTEX Homes. Because if every single thing that you're doing and you've done over these years that you've been in this industry, you cannot point to, this is this estate that I built and that people are living in, this is the community that I've built, and this is the one product that's speaking for me. You know, back then when I came in, they had the flagship project, which was the Majestic in Abuja, GRA. As far as I know, that project hasn't been completed. People are not living in it. I know they had one again in Orchid, which obviously Scott was talking about. I don't know if that is a completed project. If you work with P1 or MP1, and you have any completed project that they've done, and you'll be missing it, let me know. And so, if you don't do that, then you have to keep on oiling the wheels of your marketing, which is your agents, and leads me to the second problem that they faced, which was going into this multi-level marketing. To be fair, I think that has actually been the initial idea and the initial business model. But again, so many people started that model and people were able to evolve past that model and started to do more flagship stuff that ended up being what kind of catapulted their brand. Now Veritas is doing a development in Banana Island. Landway has done, a lot of projects. But this P1 did not start to end this multi-level marketing. Wale of Landway also was doing multi-level marketing at some point for his business. Now, let me take you way back, because we've been in this business for quite a while. At a certain point, P1 had a referral program / agency program where you would pay them 60K. I don't know what it was before that, but you pay 60K. And with that 60,000 naira that you're paying, you have access to be able to promote their product. And if you bring somebody to buy, they were promising you up to 15%. Before people attack these guys, Landway has done something like that before. And I think the least then was bronze. You had to pay 25K. I don't know what the highest was. The highest was gold. But the more you pay to register, the higher your tier. And then the more people that you bring, you're able to get an indirect commission off them. And you're able to get a higher commission depending on the level that you're in. So one person brings two people, which is a pyramid Ponzi scheme. Let me put it multi-level marketing because, I mean, if you have examples of where something good came out of it, you can let us know. But Landway evolved from that up to the point that Wale almost hates agents now, and they stopped that. They stopped that process. But I don't think those guys have been able to evolve past that. And it even shows in the psyche of an average P1 agent. I'm going to be reading some of the comments they've been leaving in some of my videos. Particularly I did 2 videos where I was talking about this couple, was involved in a land Lagos scam. And I basically talked about a bunch of companies. I talked about Periwinkle, I talked about Landway, I talked about, I think, Sujimoto. I also talked about P1. But tell me why this guy felt personally attacked. And let me show you what he said. I'm going to pin him the pin of shame. This is what he said. So you're exposing someone else, but 60% of the footage is from P1 with their logos, branded materials, fully showing the whole package. Bold move. When you slide in a sales pitch for your own property at the end, That's not a documentary. That's an ad in disguise. And ads come with rules, like not defaming other people's businesses while promoting your own. But hey, I'm sure your legal team's got this all figured out, right? I honestly was holding myself from replying to this guy, but that's the kind of people you attract when you're doing like a multi-level marketing stuff. And I think I understand where Landry came from when they decided that they only want to work with agents that align with their brand. They were asking very, very, in my opinion, stupid questions like, how do you get your customers? How do you communicate with your client? And I never I never really feel that. But that model, I think, is lazy, number one. And I also think that it contributed to their problems. And initially, like I said, overarchingly, at a point in time, your projects have to be your best marketing. The successful project that you've done have to be your best marketing. And finishing the documentation of some of the projects that you were doing, actually allocating to people, and going beyond flipping and going beyond locations like just Lekki locations and going to more prime locations, which I think was a huge issue in the business model. Now let's go back to the multi-level marketing bit. I was talking to a developer some time ago, some few weeks ago, and then we're talking about this whole commission thing, and we're talking about obviously commission in buyers, sellers commission, and what have you. And then he said, if a developer promises an agent 15% commission, what is his margin in that project? And what is he able to deliver at the end of the day? So usually, a developer is aiming for probably 35% margin. Now, Dr. Ned has even come out to say that most developers don't even see that up to 30-something% margin. Now, if you're giving an agent half of that, let's even say that's 30% is your margin. You're giving an agent half of that, and you have 15%, and you're willing to share the 15%. So what would you actually have to deliver that project when you're, agent payout, development, actually processing that title? Bear in mind, processing of title in Lagos is quite expensive, and most of their developments then didn't really have complete full title. So again, I said it's just the lazy way out, because if you don't have to do anything again in that estate, you just only have to put your billboard and then you lock it up. And most people are even in a 4-year payment plan. Some cannot finish the payment plan. It works for you. And again, I do believe they were able to kind of move past that model to something that makes more and more sense. Then, when we talk about this cashback is another lazy form of marketing, and it's another lazy business model, because you are here to sell land. You are not an investment outfit. The Securities and Exchange Commission has actually just stated that they are not registered to be able to crowdfund for money from the general public and ask them and tell them that, you're able to get a return on the investment. And so a lot of people back then that bought properties, people want to liquidate, want to resell. That is a huge problem, or that is a major problem with such areas. It takes you long to be able to resell. It takes you long to be able to get to the secondary market of what the developer is actually selling now. So let's say you bought at 10 million naira. The developer now tells you it has gone to 15 million naira. They are selling at 15 million naira, but how many people are going to buy from you at that 15 million naira? And so, instead of dealing with these issues, you just tell people, okay, give us money and we are going to back your investment by land. A developer, so actually a good developer, I would say, she came and she told me, okay, this is what we're trying to introduce. I said, no, like I cannot in good conscience preach to any client, give us property. I think even for REITs, I think our real estate investment / real estate market and industry is just way too premature for that. And so they could have stuck with it. Anyways, so that's another problem. Then I think overselling. Overselling is a problem that people like Pwan faced. Even people like, what's their name? Was the Revolution Plus, where there was a gold rush in Ibeji. Lots of the estates that people bought. Again, some people take a payment plan. Some people take 36 month payment plan, 2 years, 3 years. Some people take quite a long payment plan, and you are still taking deposits from people. And so sometimes it's not like there's scam involved, but you just sell more than is required and you don't even have any more land. And then you tell people, okay, we're going to give you somewhere else. Barring the fact that in a lot of the discovery process of the land market in Lagos, mistakes are being made. These developers are sometimes even scammed by moneyless families where they have to buy the land again, where, oh, they paid for a land, the family head disappears, and what have you. And so all of this culminates to a point where you see a real estate company being called out, and you see lots of issues and what have you. But I think I'd rather leave it in this delicate position of these are the areas where the business can be worked on, and these are the areas where I think that whereas they could have been one of the leaders in this industry right now, it's still the same training of agents and having those agents go out and just aggressively market these properties and have them get people under them. It's just, you need to be constantly evolving your business model, and you need to constantly be doing projects that people have very huge pride in, the subscribers have pride in, and in turn is able to market your products more. Again, like I said, if you know any projects for a P1 that have been completed and people are leaving, drop it in the comment section. And going back to the point of the difficulty in kind of liquidating these properties, and then they will say, okay, let's back your investments with the land. That is a general problem. And so I started a group called the 100 Million Equity Group, where if you've bought land, if you've bought property around Lagos or Abuja or other parts of Nigeria, working on that, and you're willing to sell a bit below market value, obviously the title has to be good. We're going to connect you with investors that are looking for below market cash deals, and they will be able to do that connection such that when developers, the real estate developers, oh, your land has added value, but you can't even liquidate it. You don't even know who to meet. They're not even going to buy it from you. So we're going to have that deal flow, and we're working on that. So the link to that will be in the description. Thank you for watching. Kindly like, kindly share, kindly subscribe. This is the Ownahome TV show. Here, Ownahome, believe only in your home. Shouldn't make you lose sleep. So I'm committed to giving you the very best property recommendations and other real estate J's. Disclaimer, all I've given you is from my experience and from my perception and observation. So any resemblance to scratch that. I'm actually in the process of talking about more about real estate, because these people too are investors. In as much as investors are investing to get a return, the developers themselves are investors. So we'll be looking at different business models, different companies, where they went wrong, things they did right, and how that can make you a more informed stakeholder in the Lagos, Nigeria real estate industry. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the very next video. Bye. Bye-bye.